Hello. So, how is everyone today? I hope you're having a good day. Um, yeah. So I had things on my mind, and I was going to talk about them again, yet again. So, well, like the LGBTQCIA plus, movement and everything. It is again. I'll first say, actually, let me nip this one in the butt. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean at all that they're bad people, but have they been demonically influenced? Sure. Just like, everyone at this point, especially if you're living in America or the Western Empire. With all the poisons and the products and food and water and EMF bullshit signals running around everywhere and irritating lights everywhere and then irritating sounds from these electric vehicles that are like a few steps away from, metal scraping on metal, which is very similar to nails on a chalkboard. So people get influenced and then they use that. It's very similar to doing the same thing, poisoning all the products, all right? You poison all the products and then you create people that are overweight. And then, I don't think they're not lovely people, but you eat a lot of processed foods there, and, that sucks, and I'm sorry you got affected by that. I typically don't find that sexually attractive. I'm not saying that you can't be attractive to someone else, just like, just for me personally. It's like, and then it took me a while to figure it out. And then it's like, oh, because you've been tainted with so many products, like shit products, and it's fucked your whole body up. And then they're like, look, they don't say that we, oh yeah, we collectively poisoned all these people and made them overweight and obese. They're like, you're not accepting of fat people, and then they weaponize it. And then it's the same shit with the LGBTQ CIA, stuff. And they're like, oh, you're not accepting. So that, there's this, anti-Muslim bullshit going around, and they're just like, yeah, they're not accepting of the LGBTQ people. Can't you believe that? They don't like them in Palestine, the LGBTQ, so you must be on Israel side to fucking, and it's like, no, I'm not on their side, and they could do what they like, It does seem demonically influenced, and that's why Traore and Burkina Faso did what he did, because he's trying to get his country under control. And it's not that they're bad people. He's not even like executing them and everything. He's just like putting them on hold, and maybe 5 years is excessive, but he's just putting them on hold. Like, whoa, 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 hold up, because you're already kind of demonically influenced. So if anyone is going to be tempted with that Arthur Slugsworth from the 1971 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's going to be them, because they have been affected already. And they've been affected to a point where, there's a penis that's sucking a penis and vagina licking vagina. And, that doesn't make those people bad at all. At all. They're victims as well as everyone else in this, But it makes them, like a chink in their armor that they're going to, the infiltrators are going to use to further their fucking bullshit. So yeah. If I do fart, it may sound loose, but only because I went to Catholic school. Actually, I only went to Catholic school from kindergarten to third grade, but that still counts. Because I was still bundling up toilet paper and putting it on my butt like it was loose and leaking during those years. Anyway. So yeah, on the, steward thing, fucking, skeleton crews at the bases, y'all stand down and go back home and be with your family until, further orders. And you have your big one. All the leaders, even that man, I am the CEO of Starbucks. All right, you're under arrest, sir. you know, you will not arrest, like, the managers or like shift managers. Yeah, I'm just the guy that opens the store, or gal. No, we will punch higher than that, much higher. should be a small amount of people, a small fraction. And then no one's going to Epstein themselves. And yeah, I think we might be able to make some progress. And definitely some of the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I am interested in having her on, as a treason trial judge, and Thomas Massey. But for now, we need to put everyone on hold, which I'm sure they would understand. They're not going around with space lasers and, setting neighborhoods on fire and shit, because you can't set blue on fire with the direct energy laser weapon. And that's why all the blue survives. So there is massive amounts of shit. And there's some good governors out there. There's some good mayors and everything. Lock them up. Let's figure it out. We're going to get on it really quick. Really, really quick. As fast as we can. It's essentially like that technician. Have you tried powering down your device and turning it back on again? Except we're going to do that to the country. Feel like that South Park operator, right? Have you tried turning your device off and powering it back on? Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what's needed at this point, And you either all going to file your programs and scripts to your, not necessarily demise, but you ain't going to like what the results are. You be the patriot that, you want to see. Especially for the military folks. They always throw that word around, patriotism. It means like, throwing bombs at poor people miles away from me. No. That's some demonic bullshit that you got tricked into and scripted into. So yeah. We're going to put the leadership on hold. We're going to... Got to get an acting Congress in there. Want some of your, most honorable people to kind of keep the money flowing to the essentials. And bombs and shit is not essential. And we could also maybe start working on actual AI centers that are in the ocean, so you're not eating up the people's water. But it was specifically designed to be on the land to fuck with people's water, while having the plausible deniability of, we're just building a population, a data center, everybody. What's the big deal? Fucking China is building their shit in the ocean, so they're not, and the shit was tested, right? The American companies tested it, and it tested fine. But they're like, no, we want to use this for our ulterior motive, because they're always with the ulterior motive. Whatever they say openly, is the reason, is never the reason. And there's a lot of people that find that dishonorable, and they would be right, and patriotic. And they would also be right. It's like they're being tricked into hell. And again, they would be right. So yeah. So it doesn't make the LGBTQ people bad. I've gotten a lot of poison. I guess, I'm into trans, feminines. And, I would suck, maybe someone like, Taylor Swift's dick or some shit. Who cares? You got bigger fucking issues on this fucking planet. And the aliens give you technology and see what you do with it. And they see, repeatedly for a really long time, over and over again, that you guys just act like little assholes with it. And maybe, you're actually not the problem. The majority of humanity isn't the problem. There's that, Who Speaks for Earth, Carl Sagan episode of the Cosmos. Y'all speak for Earth. And there's very good people heading over to Gaza on the Global Summit flotilla. And I pray they don't get stopped, even though they're being, threatened and everything. I hope they make it all the way. I have no doubt they will. They're going to get protection, all right? And they're going to be protected. And they're just going to have to take giving supplies in there. And what the fuck is the other countries waiting for? Like, what the fuck? So yeah. But there's a bunch of other motherfuckers, tiny little fraction, that are speaking for Earth in the most horrific, horrible ways. And maybe you should knock that off. And the only way to do it is just to fuck their scripts. Fuck their scripts. We got to improvise now. We're going to do it in the best way possible, and it might as well be one of your own. Like, I know the military fucking, has files on me, and they know, about Chris, and others know about Chris Defer here. And so, might as well, the steward of America might as well be one of your own that wants to do what you all want me to do. Except a tiny little, sliver don't want me to do that. Well, fuck that. And fuck their scripts. They've been crafting this shit for centuries. The only thing you could do is to rip the script up and take a big, steaming pile of shit on it. And that's what we should do. And then we could spare, them, and they could let us go. Is something to, strongly consider. I can't control everyone else, but I could make an argument, for it. This is what should be done. No Epstein them. They should be fed nicely, some nicer than prison food, because we want to raise the standards too, because we want to have far less prisons and jails, and we should feed and treat people nicely in there. Like, oh, you done fucked up with some of our rules, and then we can make boundaries, and we don't need to get Jerry Seinfeld, you got to go to the college out here, all right? You're not in Israel's hell, all right, where you go to elementary school to pick up your girlfriends, all right? You're in America, and we say college, so why don't you hop over to the college and pick up all the fucking, college girls you want, And then we could have some sort of balance without all this fucking getting manipulated and jerked around and everything's a fucking lie. If everything's a fucking lie and everything, then why are we even, continuing this fucking bullshit? Right? Like, continue doing it. I mean, I'm not saying end the world. I will not nuke anyone. Like I said, I'm going to get to as few nukes as possible. Hopefully 0. And secure some of the other destructive tech, like weaponizing the fucking MH370, teleportation. What's going to happen is when the bigger fucking aliens get here, I bet you a lot of those lizard people causing problems here, they're just going to, like, teleport away. They're just going to be like, see ya, gone. They're going to be like, oh shit, mommy and daddy's here? Fuck, alright, well, we're out of here. See ya humans, see ya suckers. That's what that's going to be like. Yeah, I truly believe they're like the Arthur Slugsworth, and they're meant to fucking, give you a bad option. See what the humans do with it. And what do you do with it? Yeah, like little shits. And then people might wonder why we're on a, like, somewhat prison planet. And it's the same with the Men in Black shit. And yeah, we could work with some of the aliens. Some of the aliens need humans, like human body parts. Like, I don't think they need to be alive. I'm pretty sure they don't. I need to have these discussions, you see. But there's always solutions. And since we could talk about anything here, I don't know. Like, why are we putting people in Tupperware containers after they die? There's another species, like, I always liked the idea. There was one thing my old friend Mikey used to say to me was like, when I die, put me out in the woods so the other animals and insects could get to me and shit. And it's like, yeah, that's a good cycle. I saw a meme picture the one day that was like, the bird goes around its whole life eating ants, and then when it dies, the ants eat it. And it's like, yeah, not unless someone puts it in a Tupperware container and buries it 6 feet under. Fucking with the cycle. Fucking with the cycles. And so, yeah, like, there's people that die all the time, all sorts of mistakes and everything. And it's like, hurry, let's rush this one to the aliens. We could do that. Yeah, they're your sons and daughters, but it's better than fucking, what the fuck is happening now, you know? And we could find willing participants. There's a lot of people that, do find that stuff hot. And, families raising their children how they see fit. And there's, you want to be part of an experiment, with the aliens and see if we could, evolve your line. But, if not, we'll, compensate you or your family in some way, some awesome way. We'll take you a tour around the Milky Way or some shit, And there's always, solutions to problems. But I think a lot of the horrific experiments have been done already. So we're at a point where we don't need to do that anymore because we have learned enough. So, and when we could take that knowledge and definitely share it, so we don't need to do more horrific things. And, we need to calm it down and achieve a balance here, a balance. We are not balanced. And y'all not making the honey. You're making something. It's like, someone threw up on, some dog turds. That's what you're making. I was thinking maybe something sweet like honey instead. So yeah, that's just kind of what I was thinking about. You folks have a lovely day. I got me's a Tony's chocolate. That's not the only thing fucking Tony got, right? Right. So let's check this out. Ooh, I got a golden ticket. Alright, so I was going to actually say that I've been getting silver ones lately, but I got like a golden ticket a couple times, like over the past season. I'm like, what the fuck? But I thought I looked up, and then it actually was a contest going on. But apparently not. It was just a little shout out. Man, my chocolate's all melting. I normally don't look in it. I normally just kind of bunch it up. Cool. Alright, I wasn't crazy. I swear. I swear there used to be chocolate Twinkies. I think they recently brought them back. But before they did, I was like, I swear there used to have chocolate Twinkies. People are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, no. It's a real thing. Anyway. Have a lovely day. Now I was going to say, I could talk forever if I had the proper person that wasn't just like menacing me, draining me. But anyway, as the greeter into hell that I am, I have that dark sort of energy too, where I commune when I trip. Which I didn't even know that's what that was until just fairly recently. But I don't need that because I have dildos to also help me open up my third eye, which is insane sounding. Apparently it's some Satan Luciferian thing, some Enki thing, and that's why Vlad the Impaler did what he did, because people do commune through anal, but it doesn't necessarily make me gay. I kind of am like a voyeur, really. I enjoy watching. But when I actually have to participate in it, it gets really difficult for me. And that's a good thing. Because I was saying for years, I was protesting the sex club, right? And I'm like, I'm going to go to the orgy and just touch myself and fucking leave. And you know what? That's the kind of attitude that we need, and someone that isn't going to be corrupted by all their fucking sexual shenanigans and shit, right? Right? So, someone that falls victim to that shit very easily. Like, I was like, man, I'm gonna be president and fucking go around and undercover, and my wife that probably is going to be polyamorous and everything is going to, whether she is or not, she could still help organize the open orgies at the White House. And they all found this very curious because I was saying this shit like before my awakening, but everyone knew what I was before I did. And that's what, like, people working on me for fucking decades, probably for a long time. Like, how many more but came before me and shit, and how many more are you working on? So you shouldn't let this investment go to waste. Let's get on it, and let's boot down the country and boot her back up with less bullshit written in the script, and improvise a little, right? You know, just a tiny bit. Unlike my massive dildos. One last thing. So I was talking about the dark energy, right? And yeah, so I got a little bit of that, but I can't be too naughty. I can't be tricking myself into hell myself. But I can be a little naughty. So, and I could use that to everyone's advantage. And since everything is so very sexual in the world, and your leaders are trapped by it, I think it's a good advantage to have to not be affected. Like, it's hard for me to participate with others, but I could like watch them, and that could be a protection to not be corrupt. Because if I'm participating with others, then you could target the one I'm participating with, right? Because I'm hard to get with, but if you get someone with me, you could target them, right? And that's why I also wanted to add that. Good point. Thank you, Chris. You're welcome, Christopher. But the women that I have been sent have been very lovely, most of them. And it's not because they were necessarily corrupt, but maybe they had a big family, would have been extorted very easily, right? Pulling at those emotion strings. Like, I really like my niece and nephew. I don't want anything to happen to them. Someone just threatened them. Like, what I think what happened with Bernie Sanders is why he's being such a little bitch, right? So people have families and everything you could target. And that's the whole, point of, a loner like me, is I can't be corrupted like that. And neither could your sexual shit fucking corrupt me, because for years and years, even recently, I just been saying, I'm like, I'll go to the orgy and just touch myself and go. And maybe that's what we need, because when you start touching other people, then you could be knowingly or unknowingly affected. All right? And I think there's a great many people that did a good job with a good partner. There's this guy in his garage that I be hitting up on the internet, and he like blocked me from commenting because I'm like, your wife, could even be involved, but I don't have enough information to tell, And then the Charlie Kirk stuff happened, and who's clearly involved in the show, you know. So yeah, and Charlie Cook could still be alive. Like I said, they could like kidnap me and put me on an island somewhere, And it's like, then what would, with no phone or anything? Then what the fuck do I do, right? What the fuck does anyone do with that, right? Start looking around for like coconuts or food or some shit, you know? So yeah, there's a chance that he's still alive, because that hand looked really fucking fake to me. That looked like a sex toy doll hand and shit. That didn't look. That didn't. No. No, I don't. We drained the blood and everything. I don't buy any of that shit. That didn't look remotely natural. Not even like dead natural. It just didn't even look real. Like, I've been watching children get dug up, in the fucking genocide and shit. And just totally different. Just totally different. And it deep down too. Now, yeah, there's dust and everything, but you get clear images of bodies, and that wasn't even. That looked like some silicone latex bullshit. And he's just like, they're like, look, we're going to take the nicer path. We are now going to pretend to assassinate you, and we're going to kidnap you and put you somewhere where you can't fucking ever talk again. But you get to live. Is that what that Valhalis or whatever the fuck Whatever the fuck that fucking FBI motherfucker talking about. Yeah, they're talking about all, fuck these traders. Fuck these fucking traders. Get the fuck out of our fucking shit. Should make like a little place for you on the Rothschild Island so you'd be little shits. And then when people feel like being naughty or something, they go over fucking there. Alright? Fuck. Well, hello again. So, yeah, just talk about the anal stuff, I guess, with people walking around here. But, yeah, I guess getting molested, as a child in the butt, and then I enjoy butt stuff as an adult. Like, does that, like, does that make me bad? I don't think so. I know it don't. But yeah, like people could, misconstrue those things, as also being gay. So like you possess me, make sure. Like I heard that fucking evil witch chanting. I didn't know it was called chanting when I was a kid, but chanting I wouldn't make love work. And then you get my family after I'm good, all in airing and everything. You get my family. Well, maybe he's gay. Like stick some penises in his face. You know. It's a level of psychological manipulation that actually does occur with these MK Ultra Project Monarch programs or whatever the fuck they're calling it. They still exist. They did. Oh, we stopped it. We stopped it in the 70s, even though Christopher was born in 1981. Sorry, I was seeing if I could wait for that car to pass or not. Anyway, it is a little noisy here where I'm recording, but some light traffic. So yeah, so I like butt stuff because people raped me in the butt when I was a child. So the fuck what? And then of course, yeah, that was another like they're like kids writing me notes and shit. They're like, God hates you, God hates you. It was like really upsetting to me and making me cry all the time and shit. And I only know that because my family told me that. So I don't fucking remember it. Maybe some of my shitty classmates remember that. And then they're like raping me and shit. And then they're teaching me homophobia at the same fucking kindergarten through third grade Notre Dame in Clarendon Hills, Illinois. All in the same, so then you're like, trying to get some anal outcome by doing that to me as a child. And then you're going to like shame it, all again taught as a child, fucking dicks. But that's the stuff that goes on, this anti-Jesus like stuff, like really anti-Jesus, and that's why like the church is like doing it. They seem anti-Jesus, but they're like, no, we're on Jesus' side, and then they're like stabbing him in the back and shit, getting people to wear devices of torture. It's not like people hold the cross up to me, and I'm like, oh man, that's like fucking pathetic and tasteless. Like, get that away from me. It's not like you're fucking hurting me or something. You're showing a bunch of disrespect. And I'm supposed to like look at that as not what it is. So yeah, I talk a lot about weird things, I guess, and that's just that. But yeah, I guess I could open up my third eye in that way. It's not as fun visually or anything, but I could do it nonetheless in the same odd sexual way. I don't think it brings me down. I think it's just another form of spiritual warfare where they're like, yeah, you gotta like, refrain from that stuff, you fucking darker fucking archetype Christopher. And it's like, no, like I bring myself to a high vibration, but I need my little darker things, so it can't be too dark. Alright, but it is a little dark, I guess, but only because people don't really accept it, too. I accept a nice lady with I like vagina, and she could have a strap on and everything. That's, that sounds nice. Sounds lovely. No wonder all the women sent to me tried doing that to me when I was more self-conscious about it, and I couldn't even talk about it. But look at me now. I can talk about anything. So yeah. Oh, you guys have a blessed day.